I don't believe this for a second. I don't believe that both administrations just accidentally redacted the same names. I don't believe that when questions get asked about trafficking allegations, the response should be, hey, look at the Dow. And I definitely don't believe this is a Democrat versus Republican issue anymore. What we're watching right now is something else, and it's called elite protection. So let's walk through what has happened over the past 2 days. Pam Bondi got grilled today. Howard Lutnick got grilled yesterday, getting questioned about his past visits to the island. Questioning turns uncomfortable. The optics aren't great. Instead of clarity, we get pivoting, deflection, and then economic talking points. Then members of Congress reportedly reviewed unredacted material. Okay, they came out. They haven't made official statements, but they were hit by the press on their way out. And they were upset because they're saying that tons of co-conspirator names were withheld. And not just under one DOJ, under multiple administrations. If you let that sink in, if redactions happen under both parties, this isn't a partisan issue. This is institutional. And if you're still playing team sports at this point, you're not paying attention. Now, let's roll some clips, okay? The first one is just shocking, okay? Shocking. This is today with Pam Bondi.
Former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files.
I'm reclaiming my time. I got your answer. You said there's no evidence.
Trump asked
Chairman, please stop the clock. Stop the clock.
The legislation.
He did not ask. That is a lie. Okay, it took Thomas Massie, Lauren Boebert, a bunch of other Congress to push that into getting that done.
This is
time.
This is
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you. Here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness in.
And I'm just going to say, like, look, do we know if that's true? No, we don't know, but at least question, get some information. Don't just not look into it. I think we should turn over every stone involved in this, no matter who it could implicate.
Immediately. Epstein should rot in hell. So should the men who patronized his operation. And as we sit here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man.
Yeah. So again, what she said is that Donald Trump is the one who released this. Not true, because he did sign off on it after pressure by Congress. He was making phone calls to Charlie Kirk, to Lauren Boebert, all these people. He's got the backers, his backers, financial backers, now going against and funding PACs against Thomas Massie.
Minutes. You asked me a question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700,
co-conspirator.
and we invited you in.
Gentlemen,
This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get, you're a failed politician.
Gentlemen,
You need to
I
get
want
on
you to
these
watch the
matters.
video.
Mr. Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the rules
There
here.
is no credible information.
So she attacks him. She's crashing out saying he has Trump derangement syndrome. They redacted Les Wexner. He is listed as a co-conspirator. They redacted his name. So either we're really sloppy on these redactions, so now we really can't trust anything, or more than likely a cover up. Okay. It's kind of like the one here we go. Let's play a few more of these.
These politically motivated investigations, grasping at something they can charge their enemies with, we now have concrete evidence of disgusting criminality revealed in the Epstein files. So I really have just one question for you. How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
First, you showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer
theatrics
the
are
question the
ridiculous.
way I asked it.
Chairman
How many have you
Jordan, I'm not
indicted?
going to get in the gutter with these people,
How many
but
have
I'm
you-
going to answer the question.
How many have you indicted?
Again, the time belongs to
Reclaiming my time.
the time
I
belongs.
think it's very
Reclaiming
interesting.
my time.
I think it's very
Reclaiming my
interesting
time.
You can
that
reclaim
he
your
talks
time,
about
but
they
reclaiming my time,
indicted.
Mr.
The
Chairman.
president said they
Close the
indicted
clock.
him
Mr.
twice.
Chairman, please
They
stop the
sure
clock
did.
and
stop
They
the clock and
indicted-
restore his time.
Okay, here we go with these
Committee will be in order.
theatrics.
The time
Reclaiming my
belongs
time
to the
and
gentleman
roll back
from
the
New
clock,
York.
please.
We will give you a few more seconds. We will do that. But when
Reclaiming
you ask
my-
a question, the witness
question
gets to
was-
answer. You may not like the answer, but she
Right.
gets to
The
answer.
question was, how many of Epstein's...
They don't like
What?
the answer,
Reclaiming
Chairman,
my time.
because it's honest.
Reclaiming
So
my-
he asked a
Reclaiming my
4-minute
time.
question.
Restore 45
and
seconds to
I
Mr.
am
Nadler,
going
please,
to
Mr. Chairman.
Answer.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch.
Reclaiming-
Not on our time. No way.
Reclaiming-
And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, oh, I
anything,
did tell you because we
washed
saw
up
what you did in the
loser
Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in order.
Time, and I should get back at least 45 seconds.
We will give you a few more seconds. I
Not a
said that
few more,
already.
45 seconds.
Okay, I'm timing right now, Mr. Nadler. Go
All
ahead.
right.
Reclaiming my time. The answer to my question...
He's asking how many indictments this came from this. Obviously, we do have co-conspirators. We have people that have been involved. We know that for fact. She's then brings up Donald Trump being indicted and so on.
And how many of Epstein's co-conspirators has she indicted is 0. You have been the Attorney General for a whole year, and your DOJ fired the lead prosecutor of this case, sat on evidence this entire time, and claimed falsely last July that there were no more leads. It took an act of Congress for you to finally release part of the Epstein files, and when you did, you included personal information about the victims.
And that's the point. It took an act of Congress to release the files. It's not a joke. People always say it takes an act. This took an act of Congress. This was not transparency. It was not just released for the goodness of the heart. The administration, just like the last one, didn't and still doesn't want to talk about it.
While protecting the names of abusers.
Time of the gentleman
None of
has
the perpetrators
expired.
have been brought to justice, but enormous.
Nobody's been brought to justice. Now, this is where it gets really comedic. Even she laughs about her answer.
The Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now.
She's laughing about this. This is the talking points they were given. I'm going to prove it in a moment.
The S&P at almost 7,000, and the NASDAQ smashing records. American.
She came in there with these notes about the Dow. So this is a public move by the administration to wash it with, oh, look at the great things that's happening in the country.
401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be
talking about 401ks. Let's don't talk about these perverts.
talking about making Americans safe. we should be talking about. What does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan,
The Dow.
Yeah. Are you serious? We're talking about allegations tied to trafficking, exploitation of minors, co-conspirators, and the counter is the stock market. Nobody is asking about the Dow. Nobody is worried about the GDP in the moment. We want transparency. We want the names from the crimes that has occurred, and we want it investigated properly. Listen, they want consistency. Here we go.
Contact with Epstein through 2018 over messages. So does the White House stand behind Secretary Litnick right now, or given what he has said today, has there been any shift in how the White House is viewing Secretary Litnick's performance?
No, Secretary Litnick remains a very important member of President Trump's team, and the president fully supports the secretary. I will just point out that there are a lot of wins.
Lutnick should be removed yesterday.
In the news this week that people in this room have not asked about, because you continue to ask questions about the same subject, so let me point them out for you. Again, on Friday, the Dow shattered 50,000 for the first time ever. This week, the American Society of Plastic Surgeons came out in opposition to gender mutilation surgeries for children. They are the first major medical...
All good. But why can't we do both? Why can't we do both? Can we only worry about this, and we have to let the perverts go because, man, it's just
group to do so. A federal appeals court today, nobody asked about that, just upheld the Trump administration's policy of detaining illegal aliens, validating the strong measures that have driven illegal crossings to historic lows, and sent a crystal clear message that under President Trump, if you enter the country illegally, you will be detained and removed. The murder rate, again, not a single question about this, has plunged to a 125-year low as crime falls across the board thanks to President Trump's crime crackdown. We also saw this week national median rents have fallen to a 4-year low following 6 consecutive monthly declines, and mortgage affordability has surged to a 4-year high. Home ownership is the core foundation principle of the American dream, and I will repeat that mortgage affordability this week surged to a 4-year high, but not a single mention of that in this briefing room today. And again, this came out last Friday, but for an unprecedented 9th straight month, there were 0 illegal border crossings at the southern border. So we're going to get back to business. The president is very busy today, and you will see him all tomorrow at the event in the East Room touting his administration.
Right before that, she said, we're going to move on from this subject. Okay. So instead of we're being told to focus on economic metrics, that's not an answer. That's a distraction. Okay. That's what that is. Now, we also then have Ghislaine Maxwell. She's serving time in a federal facility, many described as Club Fed, okay, minimum security prison. She's got yoga. She's got dogs to play with and whatever she pretty much wants to do, okay? And she was granted that after she met with Todd Blanche. Optics matter. Okay, you have someone convicted in connection with one of the most high-profile trafficking cases in modern history, maybe in the whole history of the world. And the conditions don't exactly scream maximum severity. Now, she gets pulled before Congress, and guess what she does? She pleads the Fifth. Now, that's her legal right. Okay, and here's, I'm going to play a clip of Jeffrey being asked, and then her being asked, and look at their answers.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Are you aware of Donald Trump ever engaging in sexual activity with an individual introduced to him by you or Jeffrey Epstein?
I invoke my 5th Amendment right to silence.
Now, within hours of that appearance, An old document gets dropped from the 2000s. Police chief says Trump told him thank you for stopping Jeffrey in the 2000s. Says that the report claims that he contacted, here it is here, the authorities and described Maxwell as dangerous and someone that should be looked at. Okay, so this is coming from 2000 supposedly. Now, why did this document wait until Ghislaine pleaded the fifth? Maybe that call happened. Maybe it didn't. But the question is, why did that document surface right then? I think because Ghislaine was probably supposed to play a game. Why didn't it surface during the trial, during election season? Why not months ago when we were getting questioned why, if he knew, he didn't do anything? Why within hours of her invoking the Fifth Amendment, when documents conveniently appear at politically useful moments, that doesn't calm people down. What it does is it raises eyebrows. And this isn't about defending anyone. It's about the consistency. If the system is clean, transparency shouldn't depend on strategic timing. I'm sorry. It just shouldn't. When both administrations redact names, because what Thomas Massie said yesterday was that not only did it happen currently, name redactions, but it happened in the last administrations too. And I will give credit to Pam today, because what she said was, why didn't you ask Merrick Garland these questions? Well, we know why, because it's full of both sides of the fence. That's why, and the elites are trying to protect themselves on all spectrums, okay? They just know that it's a pressure valve for the Republican Party, and hence why they're attacking it now. But we have to get down to brass tacks, and I really don't care if it's Democrats or Republicans, or it's both, it's all of them. I want justice. But when both sides pivot, right? And then we have today talking about economic accomplishments instead of direct answers. When powerful people avoid direct clarity, it ain't left versus right. That's establishment preservation. And if your loyalty to a political team is stronger than your demand for accountability, then you're compromised too. I hate to say it. And I'll say it right now. If nothing happens over this Epstein stuff, you may as well give up on politics, because if what so-called conspiracy theorists have been saying for years turns out to be true, like it has, if there's no real left or right, no real sovereign control, just ultra-wealthy people exploiting everyone beneath to the point where they can take your children to a private island and have their way with them, and all the evidence can exist, names, flights, money, victims. He was keeping a freaking email archive of everything. And instead of consequences, real consequences, it gets talked about for a few days on social media, then everyone just goes back to business as usual. If there are no real investigations, no serious accountability, no transparency, then what are we even pretending this system is for? The problem isn't that elites are geniuses. It's not that they're all powerful. It's that the public just doesn't really pay attention. They pay attention to the next distraction. You probably care because you're watching this video, but most people, they're exhausted, they're buried in bills, they're stressed out, they're distracted, arguing about race, politics, or culture. They're arguing about the damn football halftime shows. That has blown my mind. That has overtaken the week, the halftime shows. They debate freaking celebrity drama before they ask who's protecting who. And if you're still even watching the football, you're losing. People are easy to distract, guys. Easy to divide. You can walk down the street and ask someone about, hey, man, did you see the files? They'll say, yeah, I heard about it. And that's where it ends. Because they got their own problems. They're waiting for somebody to come save them. And they'll let some dirt slide because they think a hero is going to come save them. That's how demoralized our country is, to the point where even if elite corruption is proven, even if we know powerful people abuse minors, nothing changes. The system limps forward. People convince themselves It meant something. Like Epstein was just some kind of isolated monster. He wasn't. History shows that power protects power. And don't think their urges just stopped when he got moved out to wherever he is now. And the scariest part isn't that what happened, is that everyone knows and still nothing happens. That's the sad part. Everybody knows and still nothing happens. That's why I always talk about taking control of yourself, your life. It's us versus them, period. They use the team nonsense because they're all complicit, all of them. Both administrations were in redactions. They're covering things up. So it's why I always say, you got to look out for your own life, develop your own networks, stay hard to kill, and all those sort of things. Now I'm going to take just a minute to talk about, there's some hidden performance experiments connected to our military, okay? I'm going to play a clip. Tony Robbins talks about this, okay? So David Sinclair and his research group is first tested on mice. When they gave them NMN, within just 14 days, their running capacity went 200 to 300% more than even the youngest and strongest ones in the group. And what most people don't realize is this didn't just stop in animal research. For over 2 years, this compound has been studied in performance and resilience programs connected to military readiness, and human responses closely mirrored what they saw in the animal testing. So what Tony just talked about, it's not hype. He's talking about a compound that restores mitochondrial function, meaning your cells regain the ability to turn energy production on and off efficiently again. Now, this is the part that people get misled. NAD is a molecule your body has a ton of when you're young. But by the time you hit around 40 years old, your NAD levels are cut in half. And that decline is one of the main triggers of aging. And that's the part nobody warns you about. That decline doesn't just come with pain or alarms. It shows up quietly. First, your energy, then your recovery, you're working out. Or you wake up one day and you realize your body just doesn't respond the way it used to. When you work out, you're more sore. It takes more days to recover. This is where the misconception starts. A lot of people think that they can just take NAD directly and get the same anti-aging and energy benefits. That's not how the body works, okay? Taking a precursor like NMN is what bypasses that to actually efficiently work. That was proven by Harvard studies. I've talked about this for years, right? Gary Brecka, human biologist with over 2 decades of experience, has to say this same thing here, and I'm going to play it.
Tools to optimize performance and longevity. One of the most powerful compounds I've ever worked with is NAD. It fuels your mitochondria, it powers over 500 processes in the human body, and supports everything from DNA repair to mental clarity. But it declines rapidly after age 30. Back when I ran clinics, our clinical team delivered NAD through IVs. Very effective.
So that's the thing. So taking oral is much better than taking IVs or any of that kind of stuff. So your body actually uses NMN because NMN is a precursor to your cells to naturally convert to NAD. Restoring NAD isn't about looking younger. It's about slowing the internal breakdown most people accept as normal aging. Oh, I'm just getting old, man, getting stiff, slower recovery. That feeling your body is working against you. That all starts at a cellular level. That's why you see older celebrities looking amazing at their age. The difference isn't genetics, it's that some people intervene early and most people wait until their body forces the issue, right? In Europe, they banned this in 2022, not because it's dangerous, but because it works so damn well. Big Pharma is developing a $3,000 version of this. So they're trying to ban the cheaper version. Classic move, as always. The Harvard study talked about was 1,000 milligrams of NMN daily increased NAD levels by 2 times. Researchers also saw a reduction in fat mass, cholesterol, blood pressure, confirming that NMN's potential to reverse key markers of metabolic aging. Okay. That's why I personally use Black Forest Supplements NMN. It's not only GMO free, guys. It's made in the U.S., third-party tested. It increases the bioavailability of NMN roughly by 30% in the same dosage used in the experiments conducted at Harvard, right? The only downside is it's hard to keep in stock because they sell out immediately. So anyway, if you want to try some, I'll leave a link below. The people who benefit most from this aren't chasing youth. They're the ones who refuse to let silent decline make decisions for them. It's a choice to be hard to kill, okay? Anyway, Black Forest Supplements just launched a President's Day deal of the year. Buy one, get one free, store-wide promo. So if you buy one bottle of NMN, you get a second one completely free, or any other product in the store, okay? Check it out, 48 hours, go ahead and get into it and become hard to kill, because the elites don't care about you. This isn't about party loyalty. It's about whether there are two systems of justice, one for normal people and one for those with the private jets. And if there's something to hide, release everything. If the names were redacted, explain why. Another big thing about this is something that Jeffrey did has come to light, is the young women he would abuse, he would then essentially brainwash them. And as they got older to turn 18, they then started working for him to procure other young girls. So evil human being, evil human being. If crimes occurred, prosecute them fully across the board, guys. No teams, no sacred cows to worship. Because if nothing happens this time, this tells you exactly how the system really works. And I don't believe for a second that this is just a coincidence at all. Let me know your thoughts below. Again, they're crashing out up there. This has been the biggest uncovering in the history of our country. And they're trying to put the blinders on for you and I. They don't want us to see their darkness. Stay frosty, stay strapped, stay dangerous. Black Scout.